vehicle. So we've seen this vehicle turn off of Burbank Boulevard. So we're going to kind of zoom in here on our map and see if we can't figure out exactly. Okay, we've got White Oak. So I'm just kind of looking at my map. The White Oak is a north-south road. So
data centers.
I'm not sure if we're going.
The local people agree. The local governing bodies agree.
We're going south on that, but I'm not quite positive on that.
Everybody agrees. The people building agrees.
White Oak and
you disagree.
Classic. In Encino. But again, this is just like before, where you saw the vehicle stop, obey traffic.
You didn't ask my consent as a Californian who's smoking smog for 7 years. You didn't ask my opinion about this.
To see what
fucking brokey bitch ass.
Clearly hear and see the sirens at this point. Now you've got another person who's just making their way through that intersection, all while the black Honda sitting next to that other car is just waiting for the intersection. So we are told this is northbound on White Oak. And so we are at White Oak and
the ones crying about data centers are the ones who use CDBD to be their girlfriend. True.
You've got the park, the Los Angeles River, you're going to be coming up on before too
long.
long.
Do we not have Stu, or do we not have
is at Victory and White Oak.
Chris?
That's generally where that is. But again, this is Oxnard and White Oak. The person is northbound on that on White Oak. So if you're driving through this area, be aware of that. But what's interesting is this person is pulled out into the intersection and stopped, and now is going to continue on. Driving actually into the turn lanes a little bit there, crossing the double yellow. So again, here we go, where the person had stopped and then just decided to suddenly speed up, and the officers are left in a real chase mode. So there for a moment, it was in a surveillance mode, and they were just kind of watching, but then they re-engaged, and so this is an absolute pursuit, trying to stop this burglary suspect. Looks like this is going to be Victory Boulevard that they're pulling up next to, and again, this time an oddity.
They should let him get away. I'm not gonna lie, because his constitutional right means that he shouldn't be observed. They're directly surveilling him in live. I mean,
really have not.
Where are his rights?
Aggressive when the person has stopped at these intersections. It's just been kind of letting this play out.
Where are his rights? Seriously, this is not right.
Them talk about the possibility of asking for authorization for a spike strip. Now that this person is on surface streets, that might be more of a possibility. But then they picked up speed, and that makes it a bit of a challenge. Did he get a warrant for this
observing?
Plus, we haven't seen any repetitious behavior at this point that would allow officers to kind of get in front. It is possible that on White Oak, as they head northbound, that you might be able to get up at one of these intersections, but it's going to be difficult.
I'm not dipshit. I'm just not
for no other reason. The size of these roads, you have 4 lanes.
I still disagree with how Flock is in its current iteration.
For an officer to get a spike strip out in front of him.
Is much needed.
The chase continues now, moving on White Oaks again, White Oak Avenue again, northbound. That was probably Victory that they just went through. Be approaching Van Owen before too much longer here, but just really moving along 50 to 55 miles an hour here on this road, which is not horribly fast, but certainly above the speed limit in that space.
How many store robbers would you get if they allowed booby traps and shotgun traps?
Hopefully they are
zero.
In the middle of school, so you're not going to have a lot of people.
If you stepped on a tile in a bank and it blew you up, you robbed the bank. How many robbers do you would have?
So if there is a good news, that is it. So now we're turning here, and it does appear as if that is Van Owen. So now probably heading eastbound on Van Owen. And that was White Oak and Van Owen. So now heading
chat, it went down. But why is it 400,000 though?
Here, Luis Avenue, and before too long, Balboa. So back somewhat in the direction of where they came from. So if anybody in the booth wants to correct me if I'm not right, but I do believe that is Van Owen that the suspect is on. Again,
what?
Not horribly dangerous driving. Just at this point, kind of a failure to yield. Hasn't even really driven through any intersections against the light.
I know the spot.
People at risk. I think if there was any kind of risk that we've seen, it was the confusion that was caused by other commuters when they watch all the police and they kind of pulled into the intersection and stopped back. But now here we go again, having gone through that intersection. Again, this is Van Owen, westbound. And I think Mohammed Middle
KX,
School
I've been
will
a
be
network
coming up,
admin for an
not
agency
too
in my
far from
area
here.
for over 14
But
years.
this is
Always
a
down
burglary
for a Discord
suspect,
call to give my
and
Sutter
we're
take
trying to
anyways.
see-
I'm old,
it's
happy
kinda difficult to see
110
with
months
those
XQC,
windows,
huh?
the
I remember
tinted
you, man.
windows.
110
If
months?
there
Look at the other
are
one.
more than one person, more than one person in there. We haven't had a chance really to slide on either side. Just trying to kind of take a look inside there and see. But again, this is Van Owen.
Honestly,
And
they should have arrested this guy a long time ago.
Now you're
For
seeing
this
some
tint.
of the commute
This tint
sneaking
should have
in
gotten
and
this guy
out of
arrested a long time
traffic.
ago.
And again, 45 miles an hour.
jungle.
More than anything, I think a lot of people are going to see and hear the lights and sirens, and that's probably going to be a bit of a startle when you see somebody passing you here in traffic. So we are now.
If you're 6, you're in,
we're
really?
still kind of in the Encino
Should I reset that?
So yeah, we're in Lake Balboa now. So having passed Balboa is my guess, and we're just still continuing on. Actually, if they keep going this direction on Van Owen, they will go underneath the 405. So that's the direction I believe we are headed. But now we've stopped even before an intersection. So not quite certain what's in the mind of the person here. But you can see we're going to kind of look and see in the window there if we see any kind of movement there. But the person has just slid into the turn lane and has gone around. What are they looking at in their hands there? Kind of just looking to see what's going on with their hands.
Yeah, what's going on with their hands, man?
The right hand was maneuvering around something. But again, we've seen agitated behavior before, so not really seeing that kind of behavior.
Okay, not bad.
But again, here we go. The person just picking up speed and moving along. So again, this is coverage of this pursuit suspect here. Just kind of hanging with us as we go through this. Again, this started in North Hollywood. There were speeds of 70 miles an hour or so on the freeway, but then off the freeway, that was when the driving was most aggressive by this person, because they were at a stop sign or stop light and just sat there. But as soon as they had an opportunity to take off, that is what they did. So we're at Van Owen and Gloria.
Really picking up in
here and see.
No,
yeah,
it's
we
not.
are now
It's the wrong guy.
405 at this point. Just trying to give you guys some markers as far as where this might be if you're looking at trying to avoid this. So they're approaching the 405. It doesn't appear there's an on-ramp.
Got behind it, realized who they were, and then the lights and sirens, and that driver deciding not
What is
to
the music
stop.
here?
Definitely appears to be a male behind the wheel, and like I said earlier, or maybe in a business stealing something. So the possibility that this person is armed is still always on the table, but it's not a robbery as it would be. Like, you know, it's like you see somebody, I'm just making stuff up, you know, going to the tire store with
I'm just my brother. 42,000, huh?
That's not the situation here, but it is still a very serious crime. And of course, LAPD, they've been having a number of burglaries, especially residential, in the valley. Could this be one of them? Maybe it is. But right now, LAPD apparently saw that vehicle, ran the plate, got behind it, realized who they were, and then the lights and sirens, and that driver deciding not to stop. Definitely appears to be a male behind the wheel. And like I said earlier, we haven't seen any of that overly aggressive driving. You can kind of see him there kind of playing with something in his hands and just kind of very relaxed, I would say, or, you know, as far as it goes.
Fox News, it's time to give your staff good fucking equipment.
Very relaxed.
This is running off of a fucking tear deck for no reason. Get good fucking equipment, piece of dog shit.
We haven't seen any, you know, center divider. We haven't seen any anything except for just kind of driving, and it does appear that he's doing something with maybe some paraphernalia down there and checking his phone.
Yeah,
and checking his phone,
it's a little tough to
He was
tell.
holding a blunt.
You know, the reason they had backed off, thanks to Gigi, who is informing me, is because they were approaching a school, and so there's always concern, of course, when it comes to the safety of the public and obviously a school. That's why they had backed off, and then they immediately got right back on his tail.
And then I don't know.
Yeah, and again, that's one of those ones. Oh, go ahead.
No, when you push in to show the driver earlier, we did see that it was
so laggy, man. So fucking laggy.
Paraphernalia, and it did look like it was a lighter of some sort that he was using there. So that might add some things to this chase if this person begins to show any kind of consequences of using drugs at this point. But right now, as we watch this person drive, he does not seem to be showing any effects of that. So that's just something to monitor, something to think about. We are about a minute away from our news cut-in, which will be on ABC7 and seen here. But again, this person is on Van Owen, and I believe heading east. And I did not see him go onto the 405, but I believe he probably did at this point. And might be approaching the.
It looks like a BMW.
If this map is showing me the right way, if he comes up on Van Nuys pretty soon.
What is that? An M5?
We'll be looking at that. But again, we're going to pause here a minute and let
a Honda Accord, actually.
And then we will return with this in just a moment. I'm Philip Palmer. This has been live coverage of a police pursuit of a burglary suspect. We will be back in just a moment.
You might actually be right. Don't worry, it's not gonna patch us through. Yo, it's not moving! It's not moving! It's not fucking moving. What's wrong with the audio? Yo! News services, listen, fix your goddamn production. We are tired of wanting scuffed ass piece of shit broadcast. It's not fun. It's annoying. Fix your broken shit. It's just, it's honestly embarrassing. What the fuck is that? That's not even live. It's like some VOD. What the fuck was that? What are you linking me, man? Well, hold on. This actually might escape it. Jay, just give me the other one. I'll just sync the I'll just sync the audio.
This is like stuff that was built in the 50s and the 60s, right. But now making our way back out. We're going to be kind of close to, it says Kittredge, but I know we're near the Van Nuys High School. But I would, yeah, no, we're not. I was going to say maybe making our way back to, back over to Van Nuys Boulevard. Right there, clearly somebody making some gestures. Not sure if it's somebody that knows them, but definitely getting into that neighborhood out here in the Van Nuys area. Going just a little wider to show you guys. That's going to be Van Nuys High School right there in the shot. So again, another school in the area. Maybe he's going to slow down. We'll see. But right now, this pursuit continuing. And driving just a little bit more aggressively.
Yeah, going around cars that are at the stop sign. In the beginning, we did see this person stop at the red lights, but we did see him not do that just recently. So, yes, it seems like whether the impact of whatever he's doing related to the drugs in the vehicle or now having him act out, or maybe he's just getting agitated. Obviously, we're speculating. We have no idea, but we are monitoring some kind of a behavior change.
Yeah, but I mean, he was...
A little bit of a behavior change, and probably not for the better. Making our way back onto Kester now. And but we're going to be still very close to that high school, Van Nuys High School as it would be. But around the backs up, no, we're definitely not. We're going to stay in these neighborhoods, making our way. The next major would probably be Sepulveda Boulevard if he stays on this road. But again, into another neighborhood
no stop sign?
A little bit slower driving, which is a huge plus for all involved. And law enforcement still behind him. As far as that pit maneuver goes, I'm still hoping that they will bring this to an end. but you kind of see they've kind of backed off again, once again. But spike strips still could be in the playbook.
Yeah. The thing is, though, he's in a residential neighborhood now, which is a big concern because, again, people were out in that parking lot, had no idea, and now this narrow streets, people maybe in and out of their homes, and they don't want to deal with this guy who could be a big threat to the community. Very dangerous. There's a pedestrian right there.
Maybe walking their dog, kids
Right,
maybe riding their bikes. I know a lot of kids are back in school, but it just depends.
Back in school from what?
Yeah, a lot of kids back in school. Them being in the school probably going to be a huge plus. But anybody that may be on the roadway right now, especially with that impaired driver behind the wheel, and even though it is a relatively slow speed pursuit, taking a peek where the law enforcement is, they're still right behind him. And this might be one of those ones where this guy just drives around until he feels
I know you're still reading your book and shit like that. I read all the books.
He's just going to decide
I wrote
to pull
all the
over.
text. I did all that shit,
might
buddy.
be a good thing,
I'm outie,
but
bitch.
also
I'm
it
out.
might still be
I
very
did all
dangerous.
that.
This person clearly
I got my
inebriated
diplomas, man.
and you know, driving a vehicle. Maybe he's going to miss something. Maybe there's going to be a problem. That's one of the reasons why we always watch these, and we're always concerned about the public, the safety of the public. Law enforcement, they're worried about the public, they're worried about their officers, and they're also worried about that suspect behind the wheel.
Oh, I thought there could have been a chance to make a move there as the suspect was stuck in traffic, but clearly the person is now maneuvering through the Van Nuys area, maybe onto a little bit more of a better
without reading the books.
area
If I read the
that
books.
is not as residential. I can't see.
That takes some
unless you
real
pull out a
skill
little bit. Yes, so more
to bullshit to the
business
answers
friendly.
and still pass. That's a real skill.
Driving the wrong side of the road here, blowing through stop signs and stoplights now, and picking up speed here. This is on, what, is this Van Owen or Van Nuys?
One more increment of Q&A.
We're back on Van Owen. We just crossed over Sepulveda, and we're making our way back over towards the freeway.
My exam,
I just heard them talking about one of the officers asking if they could do the pit maneuver, and basically they're saying just because of the other traffic in the area and speeds, they're going to prevent. They're saying no pit right now, no pit at all. If that, if everything changes, they might be able to do that. But right now, it's still a hard no. Could they put the spike strips out? That's still a possibility, even though we are like on these very residential, some of them residential, some of them majors. But look at the traffic, and now that he's on Haskell, we know this is pretty much a straight shot over to Sherman Way. The officers that are in this area probably know this. Know these streets like the back of their hands, and they would have that opportunity maybe to get ahead of the chase and to be able to put out those spike strips. Speeds definitely increasing. Traffic is probably going to be a problem when he gets over to Sherman Way.
Well, the other reason that pit maneuver is not authorized, thank you to Gigi for keeping us informed here. Some officers are saying that they believe there are 2 to 3 suspects in this vehicle. And that is the reason why the pit maneuver was not authorized. There's more than one occupant in the car, so I believe that is a deterrent as to why they may try to avoid that. I know we can't see because those windows are quite tinted, but it is believed that there's more than just that driver in that vehicle.
Well, maybe we can get Sky Fox to go around to the front. That doesn't mean they're not in the back seat. But maybe we can see if there's a passenger in that vehicle, and if there's more people in the car.
What COVID was all about, and they said that the public was ready to receive all the reason, the real facts.
Right now.
I swear, I had to hear about this.
Maybe a right turn or something else right there.
He's looking out the window. He's looking behind him. There you go.
We can kind of. So here we go. Now we're going to get a shot of that front seat. That front seat definitely appears to be empty. And the back seat, where was a shot there where the lighting, I could actually see the seat. I'm not going to say 100%, but I'm guessing that there is nobody in that back seat. So it's probably just the driver. But if officers have that possibility, it's the same thing. They have the possibility, so they're not going to do it.
Right, taking all precautions to make sure everyone's safe. and make the right decisions in terms of when they pursue somebody like this, a suspect. Again, the initial one was a burglary, not clear on a lot of the details there. What time did that come across? Because we've been following this now for a little bit of time, right, Stu? When did it first all start?
Next
Probably right about the 1
should
o'clock
be in about
hour.
2 minutes.
Maybe like just, if it was shortly after 1, it was just a few minutes after 1 o'clock. Skyfox is going to do a pretty pirouette right here. If anybody's at home, please make sure that if you're standing, don't get dizzy. Oh, Tyler doing an amazing job keeping that shot for us.
Thank you,
and let's see if we can get a better look. Yeah, clearly nobody in that front seat. But the speed's definitely picking up once again. That was a quick, if you blinked, you probably missed the LAPD airship. Coming up to, and well, it was slowed down, but apparently that light was green. And but a little bit more traffic, something we don't want to see. Law enforcement doesn't want to see that either. But the chase continues out here in the Van Nuys area. And that suspect basically staying in this neighborhood. I have a feeling, yeah, we're right by Woodley, so we're getting very close to the Van Nuys Airport once again as we work our way down Woodley and making our way back over towards Sherman Way.
Well, the good thing is, from what we see right here, wide open lanes, so that is certainly relief when it comes to, the public being at jeopardy or in risk of danger. But now we're seeing a little bit more traffic as he picks up his speed a little. But we do not see the officers behind him at this point. Obviously, they're still tracking him. Again, Woodley and Roscoe area by the Van Nuys Airport. But you were mentioning we picked this up about 10 o'clock, I believe, so almost an hour now. They're right behind him at this point, picking up speed for sure, making sure they don't lose track of him, right, Stu?
Don't lose track of him. They won't lose track of him. They got the airship over there, and I have her in my ear. She's doing an amazing job, the observer this morning still. And again, very professional, the way that they are being speaking on this one. Sometimes you hear a little angst in their voice. Today, it seems to be all by the book and by protocol.
I'm going to fucking...
And again, the pursuit continuing now. We're staying on Woodley, but it's kind of odd. We've noticed this in the past with a lot of these chases. They'll kind of get to an area and stay there. Started in North Hollywood. I have to be clear about that. Skyfox wasn't over it probably till about, I'd say 10, 20-ish, something like right in there, maybe 15. Maybe we give ourselves a little grace there. But the pursuit probably starting right after 10 o'clock. Our assignment desk, was Dave, made a phone call, basically said, Stu, why aren't you over this chase? Get going. And then we were on our way. Right now, though, getting into a little bit of traffic. I know right where we are. It's another one of those ones where, yep, I figured we'd make that turn here. And actually on Nordhoff now, so we're making our way northbound, getting out of the valley. Yeah, you're going to have an opportunity to get over to the 405.
Why they don't use
We've seen this vehicle on the freeways a couple of times. Don't know if he's going to make his way on there now. But I can tell you, the choices he's making, the streets are going to get a little bit more crowded. There's definitely going to be a lot more traffic than we've seen, especially on Woodley.
Well, yeah, and the more traffic, obviously, more people involved, and the potential of something going wrong goes up, obviously, with so many innocent drivers or bystanders in the way. So it is concerning. And to be clear, we're not in tracking mode at this point, Stu. We do see those police cruisers behind this individual. They're clearly trying to figure out a way to bring things to an end.
They are definitely working to bring this to a peaceful end and trying to work a little bit. And that's what I always say.
Chat,
law enforcement,
the death race or whatever.
They
cars
have brute force
with the nose
they have
that was like a jump, and it reverse jumped the back of the car.
Work with human nature all the time, and they do all of these things, and they do it in a way where they try to keep, and they successfully keep people safe all the time. Right now, making that turn, looks like we're getting onto the 405 freeway. It seems to me when they get on the freeway, they have in the past, there's the LAPD airship right there, they have in the past tried to hand this off to the California Highway Patrol. They were trying to do that when it was on the 101, but they didn't get in place quick enough, and then the law enforcement, they decided to re-engage
suggest that he can
LAPD
wrangle
North Hollywood Division.
this
That's what
one?
I was trying to get out. Decided to re-engage the pursuit on the 101 freeway, and that was when we saw a little bit of a change of attitude with that driver. That's when we actually saw him get off of the freeway. Right now, though, we're staying on that northbound 405. Pretty light traffic speeds. Yeah, a little faster than we'd like to see, but with nothing too ridiculous. And I can hear the LAPD helicopter still calling the pursuit, giving locations, and I'm sure they're probably going to be notifying their law enforcement brethren, letting the California Highway Patrol know that they have a chase going on or a vehicle that they want.
It doesn't matter what new tech
driving
they have
on
these
that
days.
freeway.
There has to be
If they
something
hand it
new.
off, we'll be here to watch it.
Yeah, reaching 90 miles per hour at one point here, definitely picking up steam as this
Lady,
person
stop trying to
goes
sell the chase.
northbound on
This guy's boring as
405
fuck.
through Granada
Like,
Hills.
stop it.
At this point, starting from Van Nuys, as a point that he entered the freeway. So this has been going on for quite some time, since about 10 o'clock in the morning. A suspect wanted for burglary. We saw this suspect driving in residential areas all around Van Nuys High School and the Van Nuys area, North Hollywood, and then now making his way onto the 405 North as he's picking up speed right here. It's unclear at this point whether this driver is alone or there possibly could be a passenger in the back seat from what we can see right now. But we did at some point see this driver lighting up something behind the wheel. We don't know his mental state, if he's impaired or what. Right, Stu?
Copy.
But he's smoking a blunt.
Right,
like
we
it's-
definitely
it's,
saw some illegal activity happening right in front of our eyes.
Well, the whole chase is illegal.
You can see right
What?
now using the emergency lane to pass people. I don't. Oh, we're getting off the
Did she
freeway
drop her
right
coffee?
there. We're getting off at Rinaldi. Another area where
She
there's
dropped her
going to be
coffee.
some traffic for
Or
sure.
her pipe.
I'm just getting a little bit of a wider shot to see if any of those LAPD units stayed with it or were tracking behind it. We don't see that right now. The airship definitely making the calls now that we're back onto surface streets out here. Not sure. We've seen it in the past. Sometimes they just kind of do these big U-turns wrong side of the road, but the traffic seems light.
15,000 per increment. 4 minutes per increment to 20 minutes total. We're in there.
Oddly enough, we're going to be going right to Mission Division of LAPD if he stays on the wait a second. Is he up? No, there he is. Thought he was going to play one of those games underneath the bridge. And getting on
reverse.
the freeway the wrong direction.
Oh no.
Definitely
This
not
is
LAPD.
really
Definitely
bad.
not going to follow him.
Oh no.
Yes.
This can be
Yes,
very
it is.
dangerous.
And
This is not something I want to see right now.
look at that. Look
Oh
at
my
somebody
gosh,
right there.
unsuspected drivers.
Could you just imagine?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, shit!
Yes, getting off the freeway and you've got this car going the wrong way
Coming
on
at
the
you.
freeway.
And
Oh
then
my gosh.
No,
What the
no,
fuck?
No,
Speeds.
no,
Oh,
no.
What are you doing?
Okay. Trying to make a U-turn onto.
I mean,
Producers.
at least
Oh,
that
no,
happened.
Thankfully it wasn't.
Hey, producers, now you got me fucking mad. Do that shit one more fucking time!
So
No
dangerous.
content for 20
Obviously,
minutes.
as we
One
have
thing happens, and you
watched
put some
in
fucking full
the last
screen.
45
Are you
minutes
stupid?
or so, this individual has really become more reckless and really not just with speed, but just by the decisions, lack of judgment here. You know, there was a moment where we did get a close-up of the driver, and it looked like he was doing something, and it did look like some kind of drug paraphernalia activity was happening, and therefore now
was
that he's
smoking
becoming
crack.
more reckless, that may be a result of what we're seeing right now, which is just really, really disturbing. By the way, I do want to let people know that at 11 o'clock we will continue, of course, to stream this pursuit because it's just become just fascinating, as well as it's a public safety issue at this point. We are also going to be moving over to Channel 13, KCOP, so follow us there. And streaming is where you can also
Catch Fox 11's original content on the free Fox Local app. Download today.
Stay with us. We'll have much more.
Freeway, and he is, you know, driving a little more aggressively now. Could that be a direct result of the methamphetamines, the drugs in his system? I would say probably yes.
Methamphetamine.
Well, now we're watching the suspect, and I think Bruce hit the nail on the head because the driving behavior has changed dramatically. We have not watched initially this suspect change across lanes like this, but he has gone in and out of the carpool lane. He's sliding all the way. We have not watched initially this suspect change across lanes like this, but he has gone in and out of the carpool lane. He's sliding all the way across 5 lanes of traffic. Now he's sliding over almost into the shoulder to try to pass people. This is southbound on the 405, and anytime, this is another dangerous move. Passing on the right, you know, you can lose control of the vehicle very quickly in that space, and it's just terrifying for the people who are driving in that far right lane.
What?
Yeah, they're very, they're
Chad,
unsuspecting
do you lose control
motorists.
more
They're
on the
driving,
shoulder?
doing about their business, and you have
Maybe
a
because of
vehicle
the
going
debris
at a
and
high
the
rate of
dust?
speed, passing illegally on the right, and then cutting across and cutting them off. So that just creates a whole dangerous situation
makes sense if you're accelerating, sure,
for
but-
everybody.
Yeah, we're now seeing that this driver is tucked under that tree right there, trying to figure out what they're going to do. They're obviously at the Nordhoff Street exit, the Aqueduct Avenue as well in North Hills. But again, we're watching this driver trying to figure out. We do not know if this driver knows this area, but they seem to want to keep getting off on North Hills, in the North Hills area.
Hold on.
Well, we don't know also because we saw him get off and then turn around, get right back on. Now, Air 7 has him at an ARCO station. So this is an opportunity, and Colleen mentioned that the officers have pulled back a little bit, so you don't see the response right on top, but they are monitoring this person. So now we're going to see if you see the shadow of the air unit there. So the person is pulled into ARCO there. And Bruce, how quickly would officers try to get to this person and surround him?
Well, you have the helicopter overhead, which is relaying that information to the ground units. And hopefully there are some ground units in the area.
No, there isn't.
That can then
Because one, they were
swarm
already in monitoring, and two, they went into reverse traffic.
And or attempt a felony stop.
Well, you saw the danger it put one of the customers. She immediately walked over to the entrance to talk to someone about maybe what's going on. So now you've got officers, and here he goes. He's out and gone again. I'm a little surprised, Bruce, that officers weren't responding more quickly in that moment. Because as you mentioned, they're generally even in monitoring mode, tracking mode, they're still in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you would have thought they'd have
Not
more
bad.
officers
From 45 to
involved
17?
in that. However, you are transitioning from one station area
No, I don't think there is
to
a
another,
passenger in this car.
So maybe
He's
each
solo.
watch commander
Keep it
had
on
their
there.
own difference of what they wanted to do on this, and told those officers, hey, don't get involved, but the other mission units, you can get involved.
Yeah, there is so much that's being choreographed behind the scenes, Bruce, which is also quite fascinating because you have a watch commander. So take us through. You have one watch commander that's been sort of calling the shots on this, and then there's a whole group of law enforcement that are just waiting on the word for what to do. Now you can now see the driver on Valjean Avenue going through residential streets, which makes it even more dangerous for anybody in this area, Bruce.
Yeah, very much so. Going back to your points, you have a watch commander who's asking for certain information, road conditions, speed, number of occupants, type of crime. And those are all factors involved to let the pursuit go or to cancel it and go into a surveillance mode.
Okay, now we see this suspect driving aggressively through these side streets, but what people might not have seen when we first came on to this was when he entered the 405 freeway going the wrong way. That's this moment here on your right. That happened at about 2 minutes before 11, and you can imagine the sheer terror for all of us watching this when he started at this point going the wrong direction onto the freeway, and you'll see that he made this quick U-turn. I think even in his agitated state of mind at that point, he realized he had made a bad move. And you'll see it coming up right here.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Bruce?
I was going to say, and luckily you'll see as the footage continues, he made a U-turn, and it seemed the traffic let him do that without any kind of incident.
Yeah, luckily, where this happened, nobody was right there because you saw the driver being very cautious when you saw the semi trucks right there. So
that approaching vehicle was able to stop and get out of the way.
Because it looked like he was gonna pop up on that freeway, but then there was a few big trucks. But again, we're watching this driver now navigate residential streets, and there's some speed bumps in this area to slow down cars. So you saw him having to go, but just I thought it was going to go a little airborne.
At this rate of speed, he hits one of those speed bumps, he could lose control of the car very easily. And again, you're you're in a neighborhood now.
I know.
And so you're at a point where luckily most people are either at work or at school, but you still have people who are going to be out and about at 11 o'clock. So this driver, it's kind of hard to keep up. Our map is going to be a little, Sky Map 7 is a little bit behind sometimes, but he's making so many quick turns.
Ooh.
There's another officer right there, maybe just even happening upon this, but that is an odd move.
That's very odd.
Turning around to get behind the officer, and
What
now there's
the
an officer
fuck?
behind him. So this is when it gets a little bit tricky, wondering what this person is going to do, because now you have an officer in front, which is not a safe place to be for the officer, and officers behind.
And then they just took the artery that was not
he
filled with
probably
police.
thought that,
So,
if the
Bruce,
guy's
what
there, he's
happens
boxed,
now? You
so
have these
he's
police
bringing the box.
officers. Now you have police officers
It's a
in this
change
area.
strategy.
This driver doesn't seem to know where they are driving.
It's about
so
the
we don't know if
invisible
there's going to
box
hit a
around the
cul-de-sac or not.
car.
But what do you think they're going to
If
do
a
now?
car
Are they
is
going to try
coming,
to
it means that the box
surround
is
him?
further up, so he's getting out of the box.
Well, they're going to swarm the area with units, meaning that in that geographical area, they'll ask all the units to kind of come into that area and hopefully funnel the suspect into a cul-de-sac or into doing a stop of some sort.
Well, one thing that we have noticed is he's now starting to drive on a couple of repeat streets. So he's kind of been in this space. I saw that one looping street there. So if he starts making some more frequent transports,
So what about a drone?
more,
That
his
binds
transportation,
to the
his
wheel
vehicle, his
with some
streets.
acid
If he gets on common
and
streets,
burns
they're going to be able to get in
the-
front of him. In the
rubber.
Northridge area, Plummer and Gothic. So if he makes a couple of moves where he goes back over a familiar
What if
path,
flood
that's going to really
cameras
give an advantage to
had
officers who are in that area.
darts like balloons.
Yeah, very much so. The other thing, too, on a big street like Plummer, it's a wide street. So if they may have the chance to do it, they could try a pit maneuver.
Yeah, it does seem like that. A moment ago, it seems like there was a possible opportunity. I certainly don't want to act like I know what I would do, but it looked like they were getting close when the driver was trying to figure out what to do. But again, you don't know if there's a weapon in this car. We know it's a burglary suspect, but again, what they're attached to what if it's just one burglary, how they ended up becoming involved in knowing that this car was suspected in a crime.
So now on Plummer, he's going right through an intersection again, and that's the kind of thing, Bruce, that you're terrified of when this person stops obeying the traffic laws, which in many cases he's been doing, but when he starts showing that kind of behavior, that really, you feel like the officer's got to get more engaged. And I'm not trying to say the officers aren't engaged, but maybe more proactive is trying to end this actively.
Well, the other thing, too, is I remember a couple of years ago,
Elon Musk,
especially in
what is
San Fernando
that?
Valley, they changed some of the speed laws. So 35-mile-an-hour streets became 45, and streets like Plummer became a 45. So people are going through the intersections at a higher rate if this guy's blowing through.
Yeah, and I am trying to figure out, this car is going, the driver is going to end up going back into the residential area. It looks like they're slowing down, but it could be just my perception. But it looks like they're slowing down, probably trying to either figure out where to go or
the pit maneuver
have they
requires
run
a
out of
certain amount of
gas. You just
speed.
never know. Did they have a full
Otherwise,
tank
the
when they
car
started
doesn't kind of
this
drift
morning,
out of its
and then the
position.
pursuit happened? So,
Well, to your point, that makes me wonder if that was the reason for pulling into the Arco.
Right.
He may be, but you can see he still is driving in and out of traffic a bit there. Plummer, in one direction, he's going to end up basically kind of running into the area of Cal State Northridge, heading in the other station, other way, he's going to run in to the Sepulveda Valley Medical Center. So there's the gas station video. Now, I don't think he was there long enough to get gas. And as soon as police showed up, he took off again. So it does, if I'm looking, can we tell? Okay, that looks like he's gone into the area near Cal State Northridge, as I was mentioning a moment ago. So he has traveled Plummer all the way down into the area of Cal State Northridge. If I'm accurate on this map here, we've kind of lost him, have we? Because they have to watch out for the Van Nuys Airport, right?
yeah, so they're going to have those air traffic restrictions. But again, we're going to get back our eyes on this pursuit suspect as well. But again, we saw this person making some very, very dangerous maneuvers. And so authorities absolutely, whether it's the LAPD or if they get on the freeway, the CHP, they are going to want to pull this person over. But they don't know if he's armed.
Well, we're waiting
Elliot.
for Van Nuys air traffic controllers to let us move through their airspace. But Bruce, is LAPD in the same boat? You know, they have air traffic following this. What kind of procedures do they have to go through to get through the same airspace? Although they're a lot lower.
Yeah, very much so. They're bound by the FAA rules of flight restrictions due to Van Nuys Airport and also Burbank Airport, as that's a thoroughfare for the planes coming into Burbank. I just got some additional information. When he pulled into the AM/PM, he actually did pump some gas.
Yes.
Something we've seen in like the last 3 pursuits.
Yeah.
There was the guy with the motorcycle
Oh my God,
who
no!
drove away with
I
the
missed
hose
the increment.
still in the car. And
6,000!
that video on the right is where he entered the 405 freeway heading in the wrong direction, which was terrifying for a moment.
It really was. And then, Bruce, again, that driver obviously didn't have enough time to get a bunch of gas in the car, so it does lead you to believe that they were desperate. They were really on empty, on fumes, so they will quickly be back on fumes because they couldn't have had. We were seeing them go into that gas station. We cannot see them actually get out of the vehicle and pump gas.